Okay, so the project for this tutorial is pretty simple, as long as you have already done the assignment that was in the video. So it's just a modification to what he did, which was to read the value using, I think, digital or analog channel A1, and then he used some an equation to convert the value from 0 to 1023 to 0 to 255. And it was something like, I don't remember exactly what variable names he used, but he had 255 over 1023 times the value. So this was the value read by A1, and this is the value he wanted to do to use the analog write command. So there is a function that's built into Arduino that does that for you, and it'll handle cases where where you don't have a 0, 0 point, because it was 0, 0 was one of the 2 points that he used to derive this equation. There was no y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept was 0, so we didn't have like a plus b term here. So let me just tell you what the function is. So if you go to Arduino reference and we look for math, actually it's not math, it is, let's see if I can find it. Okay, so it's under math and it's called map. So what it does is it remaps a number from one range to another. That is, a value from low would get to map to too low, and a value from high would get mapped to too high. And let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little better. So here is the form of it. So you have your variable that you're mapping. So this would be your pot val, would be X. So you use your analog read to get a pot val. This is the range of values for pot val, and these are the range of numbers for LED, whatever that was used in the digital write command. So let's just look at this syntax down here. So it says map value from low value, low, from high, too low, too high. Okay. So what does that all mean? So I'm going to be generous here and help you out. So I went to the video to get the actual variable names. So for your particular case, you'll have the V2, and I said you may have to use a different variable. Well, I was going to say that, but I have erased it now. But instead of using that equation that was something like 255 point divided by 1023 point times, what was the thing called? Read val. Like that. Instead of using that, what we're going to do is we're going to use V2 is equal to map. The value is read val. So that's the value that we want to map. The from numbers are 0 to 1023, and the to numbers are 0 to 255, and then a right parenthesis. So what it does is it takes this value, read val, which is between 0 and 1023, and it maps it into this variable, V2, which is from 0 to 255. And ultimately it'll do exactly what was done previously here. Now he went through that whole big explanation of lines and blah, 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 blah. And so this just does it automatically for you. So if you want to change it so that the potentiometer was working the opposite way. Instead of turning it one way to turn it on and one way to turn it off, you could just switch these two, and that would do that automatically in the map function. So your assignment is basically to remove the equation associated with this, which was a linear equation, and use the map function. And then upload the code with this new line in it and a picture of your circuit, which would include the potentiometer and the resistor and the LED. Okay, so that's it.